Welcome to the Female Finance Collective podcast, where we encourage women to have open and honest conversations about all things money.
I'm Jen, and I struggled for many years with debt and feeling financially overwhelmed, so I know how frustrating it can be. Now I'm passionate about helping women confidently take control of their personal finances.
And I'm Mary Lee. As a financial planner, I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of women who've transformed their financial lives. I'm excited to share my insights to help you on your financial journey.
Hey, I'm Sybil. I built my dream life traveling the world and creating financial freedom on a teacher's salary. Now I help women take charge of their money and burn brighter in life.
Let's start the money conversation.
Welcome back. Today we're talking all about budgeting and really budgeting for beginners and exactly where most people get stuck. Okay, so budgeting can feel really hard. So today we're going to talk about the common emotional blocks. We're going to talk about the myth of the perfect budget, and we're going to talk about why most people stop or give up, or maybe never get started, right? Um, so let's jump right into it. Let's talk first about some of the most common emotional blocks. You want to get us started, Jen?
Sure. So I know that when I had no budget and had my debt and just flying by the seat of my pants, would I would tell myself I had this messaging that I always said, I'm not smart about money. I'm so dumb with money. Like all these things that would replay in my head. And so when I would think, okay, I've got to come up with a budget and I would sit down to do it, my messaging to myself was that I'm not good at this. I'm not smart when it comes to money. And so I was setting myself up to fail before I even got started. And my guess is there's a lot of people who find themselves in that same situation, right? You feel like I'm embarrassed of my financial situation, whether it's you're embarrassed about how much money you make, how much you've spent, the debt that you're in, how little you know about it, whatever it is, right? Some people make a ton of money and have no idea where they are financially. And that is also can feel embarrassing and shameful. So we're here to say, like, first of all, not to get ahead of myself, but we're just really talking about the common things. But the thing is, if you sit down to do it and those feelings are coming, it makes it very hard to do it. And we want you to know that the shame is in continuing to ignore it forever, right? You should feel proud and feel confident that you're sitting down to make some changes. So I think that was really what got me rolling, like on the wrong foot every single time, starting from behind.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And for me, I think about like, what's the perfect budget? What's the right way to do budgeting? I don't know how much I need to spend on groceries for a family of four. I don't know how much, my housing's going to cost or clothing. I'm not sure where to put, um, let's say clothing, for example. I don't buy clothing every month. How do I budget that? Okay, that gets me stuck. There's no doubt about it. And most people end up giving up because they're doing what I just kind of said. They're overcomplicating it, or they're not tracking and looking at the numbers, right? And they're just kind of stuck in this like, I don't know how to budget. I don't know what app I should get. I don't know. Should I do it myself on paper or a spreadsheet? There's just, like you said, this overwhelm. And it just keeps a lot of people stuck. And I would say, like, different parts of your life, you might be more stuck than others because you have super high expenses all of a sudden, or right now everything's more expensive. And so this is not like necessarily a one-time fix and done. Sometimes we're going in and out of this. Okay, I can budget. Okay, no, I can't. I'm scared, or I'm fearful that if I say I only get to spend $500 on groceries, that then I'll go to the grocery store and feel like I can't spend money and be mad at myself if I do. And right. So this is the kind of things that get people like super stuck.
Right. Right. And I think whenever we're starting something new and it feels like a big thing that we're tackling, the tendency is to overcomplicate it. And maybe that's not true for everybody, but I think a lot of us, it's to overcomplicate it. It's to try to do it exactly perfectly. It's to try to like make up for all the mistakes we've ever made in this category, right? And so, I mean, even when I'm thinking about like when people decide they want to start exercising, and then you like try to, I have to have the just right shoes. I have to know all the things. I have to go this many times a week. I have to, and we can really overcomplicate things and make it so much more than it really needs to be. And we do that same thing with money. I think that what Sybil and I and Female Finance Collective, Marilee was here, she would say the same thing. Just start simply. Just starting is the biggest thing. Taking that first step and starting simply is the really like most powerful thing that you can do. So, I think the first thing we always say is to start by tracking your spending. I have told this story before, but I used to try to make a budget all the time and I never once tracked my spending. I don't know if I just didn't realize that was a thing or I don't know. I honestly can't even remember, but I never tracked my spending. And then I would make these budgets that were absolutely unrealistic because I had no idea how much money I was spending at the grocery store or going out with my friends or on anything. And so start just by tracking because you're going to set yourself up for so much more success. And it's going to give you a ton of information. You might look at it and be like, whoa, I have got to stop stopping for coffee in the morning on my way to work. I'm spending twice as much doing that as I thought I was. Or, I used to go out. I had a group of friends that went for happy hour every Friday, and I used to go every Friday. And I didn't always spend a ton of money, but I promise you I was spending more money than I realized, right? And because then I would stay and eat dinner or whatever, all those things. So you can just learn a lot by tracking, and then you can apply that to your budget moving forward. So it'll make you feel smarter and more empowered about your finances from the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. And once you start that tracking, we want you to start looking for those surprises. Oh my gosh, I spent more than I even realized every Friday this month. Or what is a pattern that you see? Maybe also look for things that you don't spend as much as you kind of assume you spend on, right? There's like a great place to like celebrate and honor yourself. I'm doing good in this category. I can do that in this category too. Start to categorize that tracking that you see. How much do you spend dining out? How much do you spend at the grocery store? Is there a way to balance that food budget? And think about what are your non-negotiables? What are your absolute, I need this? What are your wants, right? And what
Mhm.
are your future financial goals? And starting to do this with your numbers in front of you, you'll see you're started. You're doing it. You got past some of that shame and that overwhelm and that fear of restriction. You started, and all of a sudden you're ready to start taking more steps forward.
That's right. And just start simply and remind yourself that you can change. So if you
Yes.
decide, okay, I'm just going to use a notebook because that feels right for me, and then that notebook is not working for you anymore, you're like, I think I can make this a little bit more intricate and I'd like to use a spreadsheet. Then you can switch. Vice versa. Start on a spreadsheet, wish it was a notebook. Like nothing is permanent. So don't get caught up in choosing the just right thing from the get-go. You can change it every month if that works for you. You'll find something that feels like you can stick with it. I think our next best tip is to make your budget visible. Like you have to look at it, you have to use it. So put it somewhere that you can see it. Don't save it on your computer in a file that you don't remember, right? Like keep it on it open on a tab, print it out and stick it on the fridge, or put it somewhere that you will remember. Oh, this is about what I'm supposed to be spending every week on this. This is about what my budget is for this. How much have I spent on that? And utilize it consistently aligned with your tracking. I think I liked to keep my budget on one side of the page and then I would track for the month next to it so that I could tell if I was in line with my budget or going over or under. We now we have a little bit of a more sophisticated system, but for many years, that's how we did it. And it was really helpful. I'd be like, whoa, I got to rein it in on this last week at the grocery store. I got kind of carried away, but it made me feel in control of our finances.
Absolutely. And like we said at the beginning, one of the reasons people get stuck is because they think there's a perfect way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not. There's so many methods out there. There's the zero-based budgeting, there's 50, 30, 20, there's cash envelopes, right? And there's more. And if you haven't heard of these or one catches your attention, just Google it, right? Put it in the chat GPT and chat can help you do it all. I want to do the 50, 30, 20 budget. We also have podcasts about that one in particular. And that's the one I personally like to use. And I've been working really hard. I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast of tracking my money with Monarch Money app and adjusting my budget. And it's a constant because of categorizations and such when you use an app like that. For example, an Amazon purchase might be clothing, it might be a home good, it might be right, but I kind of have it set that it goes to clothing. So I go in and that's kind of my weekly routine of readjusting some of those categories. And then if I need to readjust my budget, if I'm way underspending, I'm like, woohoo, celebration. And I can add that money to my financial goals, my investments for my future, things like that. So keep flexible with it and know that there's not a one way. And we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to be aware. It's a constant awareness exercise.
Right.
How much
It
is coming
is.
in? How much is going out, right?
It's amazing how quickly you can become unaware of how much you've spent. Like
Yes.
I'll scroll my bill and I'm like, what did I buy there? What was that big thing? And most of the time I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm fine with that. But sometimes I'm like, whoa, I totally forgot I did that.
Yeah,
It's a
for
big
sure.
thing. I think also just the way that our little catchphrase or tagline, open and honest conversations about money. Find someone that you can have these conversations with. Talk to a friend, get an accountability buddy and say, hey, want to go on a money date with me? I'll look at my budget, you look at yours. Let's help each other out. I think that's also really, really helpful.
Really helpful. And we can be that. You can comment on our socials. You can comment here. We'll write back to you. We have a power debt payoff circle going on right now in our community. And we're helping women pay off their debt and stay accountable and keep working at it each month and looking at their numbers. All these things that we're talking about here are so much easier when we do it together. Jen and I and Marilee, we talk money every single week. So of course it's on the top of our minds, right? Like if you want to do something, if you want to take control of your finances, the best way to do it is to talk about it and find people to talk about it and do it with. It is so much easier. We are wired for that social interaction. So our call of action for you for this week is to start tracking your spending. 1 week. Just observe it. Write down or put it on a spreadsheet, however you want to do it. Write down all of those expenses for the whole week, everything you charge, ideally each that day, because then your brain is going to be like, I just spent $70 today. I didn't realize those 4 different purchases added up so fast, whatever it is. Okay. That's what we want you to do this week.
That's right. And you can do it.
Yep.
We believe in you. We're putting all of the shame, all of the embarrassment, all of the guilt for not doing it sooner. We're kicking that to the curb and we are just living in the moment. We're being proud of ourselves for taking action and taking those steps this week. So thank you so much for joining us. We always love having you here. Please follow us on social media. You can find us at Female Finance Collective all over the place. And we would love to also have you as part of our community. So if you have any questions there, you can always find the link in all of the show notes for every episode, and you can shoot us a message with any questions that you have. And we hope you have a great week.